Have you ever wondered, how can you help your child develop independence, confidence, and become the best version of themselves? Parenting is not just a responsibility, it's a journey filled with challenges and profound meaning. In our busy lives, we often forget that what children need most is not a perfect parent, but one who is willing to accompany them, listen, and empower them to learn from their own experiences. The Montessori method, with its philosophy of freedom within limits and respect for the individual, is the key to not only raising your child effectively, but also building a strong bond with them. Stay tuned, because in this video we will explore 5 practical lessons from Montessori to help you raise well-rounded children. Lessons that will not only help your child grow, but also help you become the parent they truly need. If you're new to my channel, don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button and like the video to receive more awesome content. Jack, a 42-year-old software engineer from Massachusetts, is no different from many professionals at the peak of their careers. He juggles demanding tech projects, endless meetings, and financial goals. Yet his top priority is his family, his wife Sarah and their 2 young sons, Ethan 6 and Lucas 4. Jack grew up in a household where his parents controlled everything. Memories of being scolded for making mistakes or not being allowed to try things on his own still haunted him. Determined to break that cycle, he vowed, "I'll never do that to my kids." But reality often fell short of his aspirations. One Saturday morning, the family was preparing for a picnic at a nearby park. Sarah was packing food in the kitchen, Lucas was rummaging through his toy bag, and Jack was meticulously arranging everything in the car. Just as he finished, Ethan called out, "Dad, my shoelaces came undone." Jack walked over and saw Ethan struggling, his small hands fumbling with the laces. After a few minutes of failed attempts, Ethan looked up, frustration clouding his eyes. "Can you do it for me, Dad?" "I can't do it." Jack instinctively bent down to tie the laces quickly and save time. But he paused, recalling a conversation with Sarah about the Montessori method, a way of teaching that encourages children to learn through their own efforts and mistakes. Jack knelt to meet Ethan at eye level and said, "Son, I'll show you how, but then I want you to try. It's okay if you don't get it right the first time." Ethan hesitated, but Jack remained patient. He carefully demonstrated, explaining each step, then handed the laces back to Ethan. "Now, give it a try." Ethan began, but the laces slipped from his fingers. His eyes filled with tears of frustration. "Dad, I can't do it. I hate these laces." Jack recognized Ethan's disappointment but resisted the urge to step in. Instead, he gently said, "I understand how you feel. When I was your age, I hated tying shoelaces too. But you know what? Each time I tried, I got a little better. Want to try again?" Ethan hesitated, then nodded with newfound determination. This time, he concentrated harder. The knot wasn't perfect, but it was secure. Ethan beamed with pride. "I did it!" Jack smiled, feeling a quiet joy. He realized this was not just a small victory for his son, but also a profound lesson in patience and empowerment. From that day forward, Jack began approaching parenting differently. He started looking for opportunities in everyday moments to let Ethan and Lucas do things on their own. When Lucas wanted a cup from the cupboard, Jack didn't lift him up to grab it. Instead, he showed Lucas how to pull over a small stool to reach it himself. The first time, Lucas spilled water everywhere. Sarah started to scold him, but Jack intervened. "It's okay. We'll clean it up together, and he can try again." When Ethan wanted to make breakfast, Jack let him crack eggs and mix pancake batter. The kitchen was a mess, but Ethan giggled with delight when he flipped his first pancake, even though it was slightly burnt. Jack knew his gentle guidance was helping his sons build confidence and appreciate the value of effort. Lesson: don't do it for them. Let them learn through experience. Even if it means embracing messes, failures, and delays, your patience today will help your child build self-confidence, the foundation for their future growth. Ask yourself, the next time your child struggles, will you step in or give them the space to discover their own potential? Jack didn't just change his parenting approach in specific situations. He also started paying closer attention to the environment at home, where his children spent most of their time learning and exploring. Sarah, his wife, often said, "Kids learn from what surrounds them." If everything is ready and accessible, they'll feel free to do things themselves, instead of constantly relying on us. Jack didn't fully grasp this idea until one Wednesday morning while working from home. Ethan and Lucas were playing in the living room. Ethan wanted to grab a picture book from the shelf, but couldn't reach it. He jumped up and down, while Lucas sat on the floor, puzzled as he watched his brother. "Dad, can you help me get that book?" Ethan called out. Jack got up, ready to retrieve the book, but paused to observe the situation. The bookshelf was too high for either child to reach. Lucas's favorite toys were also stored on a tall cabinet because Jack and Sarah wanted to keep the house tidy. That's when Jack realized a simple yet crucial truth. Their home environment wasn't designed for the kids. Everything catered to adults, forcing Ethan and Lucas to depend on their parents for tasks they could otherwise do themselves. That evening, while Sarah was watching TV, Jack said, "I think we need to rearrange the house so the kids can access things on their own. It'll help them become more independent." Sarah agreed. Over the weekend, the couple worked together to reorganize their home, transforming the environment the first step. They started with the living room. Jack lowered the bookshelf so Ethan's favorite books were on the bottom shelves within his reach. He added a small basket so the boys could put books away after reading. Next, Sarah laid a soft rug in the corner of the room, creating a cozy space for the boys to read or play with puzzles. In the kitchen, Jack bought a small step stool and placed it near the counter so Lucas and Ethan could pour their own drinks or help prepare meals. He also dedicated a low drawer to hold plastic bowls, cups, and utensils, making it easy for the boys to grab what they needed during mealtime. The boys' bedroom also underwent changes. Jack removed the bunk bed and replaced it with 2 low beds, allowing Lucas to climb in and out without assistance. Their wardrobe was reorganized into accessible sections, with each compartment holding clothes for specific days of the week. The impact of small changes. These minor adjustments made a big difference. Within days, Jack noticed Ethan was grabbing books and sitting down to read without asking for help. Lucas grew more confident, choosing toys and putting them back into the basket after playing. One afternoon, while Jack was working, he heard tiny footsteps running into the kitchen. He looked up to see Lucas standing on the stool, pouring himself a glass of water. A bit of water spilled, but Lucas didn't panic. He grabbed a towel, wiped up the mess, and walked off with his drink, beaming with pride. Jack smiled, realizing that these environmental changes had empowered Lucas to do things independently and feel proud of his achievements. Positive interactions through environment. Thanks to these changes, Jack and Sarah also noticed an unexpected benefit. The boys weren't just more independent, they were less demanding. When things became accessible, they relied less on their parents, which created a calmer atmosphere at home. Jack even applied this approach to his own routine. He reorganized his desk to keep important items out of the boys' reach. Instead, he placed a few old toys of his on the desk, giving Ethan and Lucas something safe to play with when they approached. Lesson: the power of an accessible environment. An educational environment doesn't have to be complicated. Small adjustments in how your home is organized can encourage children to learn and develop independence. Design your living space to suit your child's size and needs, and you'll be amazed at their ability to do things on their own and the confidence they gain in the process. Let's build a community of kindness by subscribing to Stoicism for Success right now and sharing it with those you wish to see live with kindness and strength like us. Let's spread these positive values together. One Sunday afternoon, Jack decided to host a small backyard barbecue. For his family, it was a rare opportunity to relax together after a busy week. Sarah, his wife, was busy preparing meat and vegetables in the kitchen, while their 2 sons, 6-year-old Ethan and 4-year-old Lucas, played with their toys in the living room. Wanting to involve his sons in family activities, Jack called them outside and said, "Boys, I need your help setting up the table today. Ethan, you'll be in charge of placing the plates and napkins. Lucas, you'll arrange the cups and utensils. Do you think you can handle it?" Ethan eagerly agreed. While Lucas hesitated but eventually nodded, Jack handed them a simple set of items: plastic plates, paper cups, cutlery, and napkins. He briefly explained each step and let them take over. Mistakes and how to handle them. Ethan quickly got to work, setting plates on the table. However, he didn't notice that they weren't aligned properly. Meanwhile, Lucas struggled with the cups, accidentally dropping a few on the ground with a loud clatter. Startled, Lucas's face turned red as he looked up at Jack. "Dad, I messed up." Hearing the noise, Sarah came out from the kitchen. She saw Lucas fumbling and was about to help, but Jack gestured for her to stop. He knelt down to Lucas's eye level, placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder, and said, "It's okay, buddy. Mistakes are part of learning. Let's pick up the cups, clean them together, and then you can try again." Lucas hesitated, but seemed more confident. He picked up the cups and helped his dad clean them. This time, Lucas moved more slowly, carefully placing each cup on the table. When he finished, he smiled proudly. "Dad, I did it." Jack smiled back, gently patting his son's shoulder. "You didn't give up, and that's what matters most." A lesson for Ethan. While Lucas completed his task, Ethan watched from the table. As a naturally perfectionist child, Ethan often felt pressured to do things flawlessly. Observing his dad's reaction to Lucas, he asked hesitantly, "Dad, what if I mess up? Will you get mad at me?" Jack was taken aback by the question. He realized Ethan wasn't worried about the task itself, but about being judged. Sitting down beside him, Jack said, "No, I won't get mad. Making mistakes isn't a problem, it's a chance to learn how to do things better. What matters is that you try your best and don't give up. Mistakes aren't something to fear, they're part of growing." Ethan nodded, visibly more relaxed. He returned to his task, rearranging the plates and napkins he had previously thought were misaligned. This time, he worked more slowly, without the urgency or stress he had shown earlier. Lessons from real-life experiences. Once the table was set, the family gathered to enjoy the barbecue. Jack watched his two sons, Lucas cutting a small piece of bread by himself, and Ethan excitedly recounting how he had straightened the plates, and felt a sense of pride. He realized that this afternoon was not just a meal, but an important learning experience for his boys. Seizing the moment, Jack asked, "How did you both feel about setting the table today?" Lucas, always enthusiastic, replied immediately, "It was fun, Dad. At first, I dropped the cups, but I fixed it." Ethan chimed in with a smile, "I felt better when I wasn't scared of messing up." Jack nodded and said, "That's right. Mistakes aren't scary. What's important is learning from them and trying again. I'm so proud of both of you for doing such a great job today." A lesson for parents. Later that evening, as Jack and Sarah relaxed after the boys went to bed, Jack shared his reflections. "I realized that when we let the kids learn through their experiences, they don't just gain skills, they build confidence. The key is not to judge or take over. Just guide them gently and let mistakes become opportunities to grow." Sarah agreed wholeheartedly, noting that Jack's patience and approach had taught their son something she couldn't convey through words alone. Takeaway for parents. Children learn best through experience, especially when they're given the freedom to make mistakes. As parents, instead of judging or stepping in to fix everything, guide your child on how to correct and learn from their errors. This approach not only builds their skills, but also fosters confidence and independence. The next time your child makes a mistake, what will you do? Sometimes stepping back and letting them figure it out is all it takes to see them grow stronger than ever. On a quiet winter evening, Jack's family gathered in the living room. Sarah was reading a book, Jack was checking work emails, and their two sons, Ethan and Lucas, were building with blocks on the rug. The cozy atmosphere was suddenly disrupted by Ethan's loud shout. "Lucas, you knocked over my tower," Ethan yelled, his face red with anger. "I didn't mean to," Lucas stammered, his voice trembling. Ethan stood up abruptly, ready to lash out at his younger brother. Lucas backed away, looking worried. Sarah was about to intervene, but Jack gestured for her to hold back. He saw this as an opportunity to teach his sons about recognizing and managing their emotions. Jack walked over, knelt down to their eye level, and gently placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "You're really angry right now, aren't you? Can you tell me why?" Ethan, still fuming, shouted, "Lucas knocked over my tower." I spent so much time building it. Jack nodded, careful not to judge. I see, you're feeling angry and frustrated because all your hard work was ruined. That must feel really upsetting, doesn't it? Ethan looked at his dad and nodded. The anger in his eyes began to soften. Jack then turned to Lucas, who was standing nearby with his head down. Lucas, did you knock over Ethan's tower on purpose? Lucas shook his head and mumbled, No, I didn't mean to. I just wanted to grab a block for my own tower. Jack continued, How did you feel when Ethan yelled at you? Lucas pursed his lips and answered quietly, I was scared. I didn't want to make him angry. Jack smiled gently, trying to ease the tension. So neither of you are feeling good right now, but I think we can fix this. Lucas, would you like to help Ethan rebuild his tower? Lucas quickly nodded. I do. I'm sorry, Ethan. Ethan looked at his brother, thought for a moment, and then reluctantly smiled. Okay, but next time, don't take my blocks without asking. The two brothers began rebuilding the tower together. Lucas's laughter rang out as they completed the structure. Jack leaned back in his chair, feeling proud that the situation had become a teaching moment about emotions and conflict resolution. Building a habit of emotional management. In the days that followed, Jack and Sarah paid closer attention to how their children handled emotions and stressful situations. One afternoon, Lucas accidentally scratched Ethan's favorite toy car, causing Ethan to yell, You ruined my car again. But this time, before Jack could step in, Ethan paused, took a deep breath and said, You scratched my car, and I'm really upset. Please be more careful next time. Lucas quickly apologized. Watching from afar, Jack felt a surge of pride, realizing the lessons he had taught were sinking in. That evening, as Jack and Sarah reflected on the day, Sarah said, I've noticed that when we help the boys name their feelings, they stay calmer. Ethan is starting to control his anger better, and Lucas doesn't panic as much when he's in trouble. Jack nodded in agreement. Exactly. I think the most important thing is not to judge their emotions. Anger or sadness isn't bad as long as it's handled the right way. When the boys understand their feelings, they also learn to understand others' emotions. Lasting changes. Over the following months, Jack continued this approach. He saw that helping the boys understand and name their emotions not only reduced conflicts, but also strengthened their bond as brothers. One day, Ethan came home feeling sad because he hadn't been picked for his school's soccer team. To Jack's surprise, Lucas approached his brother and said, You're sad because you didn't get to play soccer, right? I feel sad too when I don't get to play the games I like. Ethan looked at Lucas, nodded, and smiled. He hadn't expected his little brother to understand his feelings so well. Jack, watching from a distance, realized that teaching his children about emotions wasn't just helping them handle tough situations, but also instilling in them empathy, a vital skill for thriving in society. Takeaway: emotions are not bad. Help your children recognize and name their emotions and guide them toward handling them calmly. This not only helps reduce conflict, but also fosters empathy and equips children with the tools to navigate relationships and challenges effectively. When your child experiences a strong emotion, how will you respond? Sometimes, teaching them to understand their feelings can be the first step toward helping them grow into emotionally intelligent and compassionate individuals. Let's come together to support our community. If you are a kind person, please hit the like button on this video and leave some energetic comments to spread positive vibes. Together, we can make a difference. Jack had always valued his role as a father, but he couldn't deny that the journey often left him feeling drained. As a busy software engineer, he constantly balanced the demands of a high-stress job with time for his family. Over the years, however, Jack began to view fatherhood not just as raising his children, but as an opportunity to grow alongside them. Lessons from moments of frustration. One evening, Jack came home after a long and exhausting day at work. He was looking forward to some quiet relaxation, but the house was full of noise. Ethan and Lucas were running around the living room, arguing over whose turn it was to play a racing game on the tablet. Sarah, visibly tired, was trying to clean up the scattered toys on the floor. Feeling overwhelmed, Jack snapped, "Can you two stop it? I've had enough." The boys froze, startled and wide-eyed. Lucas hung his head while Ethan quickly retreated to his room. Sarah looked at Jack with disappointment. "You shouldn't take out your frustration on the kids like that," she said. Her words struck a chord. Jack realized he had let his exhaustion dictate his behavior, causing harm to his children and leaving him with a deep sense of regret. Learning to apologize and make amends. After dinner, Jack went to Ethan's room. The boy was lying on his bed, clutching his favorite pillow. Jack sat down beside him and spoke softly. "Ethan, I'm sorry for yelling at you earlier. I shouldn't have done that, no matter how tired I was. I was wrong, and I hope you can forgive me." Ethan turned to look at his dad, studying him for a moment before nodding. "It's okay, Dad. I know you're tired." Jack felt a weight lift off his shoulders. He realized his children didn't need a perfect father. They needed one who could admit his mistakes and make things right. Growing together day by day. In the days that followed, Jack became more mindful of his emotions and how he reacted to stressful situations. He practiced deep breathing and controlling his temper before addressing conflicts. He also made more time to listen to his children, even when his schedule was busy. One Friday evening, Jack organized a small family meeting. Sitting down with Sarah, Ethan, and Lucas, he began, "I want us to talk about what we did well this week and what we can improve. Everyone can share, and Mom and I will listen." Ethan eagerly recounted how he helped a classmate finish their homework. Lucas said he enjoyed playing blocks with his brother without fighting. When it was Jack's turn, he admitted, "This week, I got upset when I shouldn't have, but I'm trying to do better, and I want to thank you for being patient with me." The family laughed, and the meeting became a weekly tradition. These gatherings became a way for Jack and Sarah to teach their children about responsibility and emotions, while also learning to communicate and connect more deeply as a family. The importance of being present. Jack realized that fatherhood wasn't just about teaching or setting rules. It was about being a part of his children's lives. Whether it was playing with them, listening to their stories, or simply being there when they needed him, his presence made all the difference. One morning, as the family was getting ready for a picnic, Lucas ran up to Jack and hugged him tightly. "Dad, you're my hero," Lucas said. Surprised, Jack asked, "Why do you think that?" Lucas replied, "Because you always help us, and you always make me laugh." That moment made Jack realize that despite his imperfections, his effort and presence were all his children needed to see him as their hero. Lesson: fatherhood is not about perfection, it's about growth. Admitting mistakes, making amends, and being present are what children truly need from their parents. Parenting is as much a journey of self-improvement as it is about guiding your children. Fatherhood isn't just about raising children, it's about learning to become a better version of yourself. Through everyday family moments, you'll discover that kids don't need perfect parents. They need parents who listen, walk beside them, and embrace their own flaws as opportunities for growth. The lessons of the Montessori method: empowering independence, creating a supportive environment, teaching through experience, nurturing emotions, and growing alongside your children, help foster not only a child's development, but also deeper family connections. This journey isn't easy, but it's worth it. Mistakes are a natural part of learning, and patience and love are the foundation of a strong family relationship. So what will you do today to become the parent your child truly needs? Sometimes simply stepping back, observing, and being fully present is enough. Thank you for watching this video. Let's support our wonderful community by hitting subscribe and turning on notifications right now. Show everyone that you're living kindly by liking the video and sharing your experiences in the comments. Take action now to spread positive energy.